Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another Grand Prix here in the F2 cars for the Rwagnation League. I'm Ben Raggan McConnell, and today I'm commentating on my own, but we have a beautiful track here in Singapore. We've got some incredible drivers to go along with it. So we're looking at likes of Rwagnation, Favircamp, Ravender, Kai, Turkey, Toto, Max, Prefix, Luca, Noosa, VNX, and Racing Rick. Some of the names you will recognize from previously. They are very, very quick drivers. We don't have the usual suspect, which is for the likes of Piloto Paya, although Jeb has managed to just get in as well. So cool, we got another one that's 13 now, so we're doing well. I've been told that Luca is one of Prefix's friends, so obviously first time debut race here in the F2 cars, and for the hot lap rundown, we're going to go on board with we'll go on board with Max for once, actually. So into towards turn 1, that was a DRS home straight, ran a bit deep there in towards turn 1, now turn 2, and then very quickly into turn 3. Brake pretty hard. Majority of the drivers have gone for super softs. There are a few that have gone for softs. Here is now into turn 4. Brake just a touch. You don't want to brake too much, but you don't want to run wide. That's the thing, because you want to get the power down. Oh, he's gone into the wall there. And now get the wing wide open and get the power all the way down to the turn 6 here now. So that was turn 5 there looking. Turn 6, brake hard, get onto the curves, go nicely round. Perfect. There you go. Now brake hard again into this tight right-hander. Many people can run wide and easily get some wing damage there. You've got to make sure you properly keep the car under control. Left-hander here again. Don't run wide, but you don't want to brake hardly at all on that corner. You do still apply a little bit, but only that small amount. Brake hard here into this one, down a couple of gears. Well, in the F2 cars, sometimes you have to go even further than that. Watch out for this corner on the left-hand side, because that can easily put you in the wall if you don't take it right, and then you got the really hard hairpin. And now, power down, charge hard, all the way down the straight over the bridge, and into the right-hander. Brake at the 100-meter board, get right down to gear 2 so you can get the apex quite nicely. Take a bit of the curb, not too much, and then you lead yourself up to this beautiful little S section, arguably one of the hardest areas of this circuit, because you've got this right, and then immediately into another left, and then you come into a little sprint towards a very hard braking zone, but you can't brake too hard, because if you do, that Emirates sign there will be in front of your car, and you'll be in it as you come into this little S section again. Now another right-hander, again another chicane, if you like. It's a long one though. And then you get the power down as you approach the final 2 corners. You got they're both very quick, and you hardly even brake at all. You treat them all as just one corner. There you go, across the line, and Max puts it on pole, albeit barely, by getting a 151.783, and then Rwagnation gets a 151.864. Favircamp there in 3rd, Kai in 4th, and Toto gets 5th place. Now, interesting, we've seen a fair few disqualifications, as in drivers invalidated, just ran a bit wide or otherwise. But interesting to see that Max is on pole today. He is fast in these F2 cars. We know that. We've seen him do these a few times. The issue he has is just how frequently he gets himself into trouble when it comes to the race. And we saw one race in particular in Austria, where he did really, really well throughout the entire race. Final lap, lost it, rotated the car, and it cost him quite dearly. But here's the rundown after that qualifying. So Max P1, Rwagnation P2, Favircamp P3, Kai P4, Toto P5, Ravender P6 with a Noosa in 7th, Prefix 8th, Luca 9th, Turkey rounding out the top 10. But remember, Luca, Turkey, Racing Rick, and VNX have all got disqualifications for invalidated laps. And yes, Prefix's lap may have not been the quickest. He did still cross the line and put a time on the board, and that is what gets you where he needs to be. So, obviously, Jeb has joined us, did miss the qualifying, so we'll be starting at the back of the grid as we go into this race. Should be able to... no, actually, I don't think he can. He can't change his car setup, so he's going to have to use default, which might be alright, to be honest, on this track. It's not the worst kind of setup to go into in this track. It's, you are going to struggle, mainly because this has a lot of anti-roll bar demand. You need to really put your tyres into mechanical grip mode rather than into aero mode. And, well, I mean, you're going to use both anyway. But here we go. So Max is going to be leading us away on this formation lap. You've got Rwagnation there on the P2 on the front row of the grid with him. And we're going to be seeing Favircamp chasing him down as well. Kai's obviously Rwagnation's teammate. Further down the order. Let's get the telemetry up, shall we, and some lap data. Look at the tyre situation. So, oh, we've already had... Is that Max? It is Max. Oh, he needs to stay out of the way of everybody. He's doing well so far. Oh, who's that? That wasn't Jeb. It was VNX. So Max had a mistake on the formation lap, rotated the car, and VNX is in a similar position. Again, there is no damage on the formation lap, so they should be okay. But it does still not really bode well for them, given the situation. But we are obviously on this beautiful Singapore track. I know in the official F2s, I believe it's daylight when they do this in the official F2s, but I mean, it just feels wrong to racing Singapore without having the midnight setting on. So we put that on, and you can see in the background the lovely towers that you have in Singapore. You would never get them anywhere else. Max has had another mistake. Just waiting for the formation lap to end as the drivers are getting themselves all prepped and ready. Max, obviously, yes, he was leading them around, but it's actually going to be Bottas gang who's going to be the furthest one around the track. I'm fully expecting there's going to be a fair bit of wing damage on this track in these 9 laps in the feature race here. Obviously, this is where the most of the points are going to be getting. Max has already got himself off to a great start in the point situation with the fact that he got the pole position. It does make a huge, huge difference overall. Slowly, slowly coming around the track. They are very much trying to get their tyres as warm as possible. And the thing is, with the F2 cars, this is a very, very long lap, to be truthfully honest. We saw how long it took in the actual qualifying session. They were trying their best to be as quick as they could, but at the same time, it's like, well, how can you be fast when you've got very slow cornering speeds in comparison to the others in the F1s? We've got 3 cars which have been reset. Looks like Racing Rick is one of them. Oh, it could be Ravenduck. Let's have a look. Ravenduck's actually in P6. He's done really well today. It is Ravenduck that is actually stuck there. Racing Rick is just coming into the grid box, but we're about to get underway then. Here we are. Max finally... Oh, we're just waiting for a couple of drivers to get there. Some are a little bit slower than the others. There we go. All right, lights are on. It's about to get underway with the Singapore Grand Prix. And off we go. A very delayed start, but we are underway. Max is going to get away quite nicely, but Bottas gang's got a much better drive out of the corner and is going to be the first to the inside of it. A little bit of a three-way sandwich. Oh, there's contact there in the back. That's Toto just getting shoved around a little bit. Kai's made a big mistake. He's fallen right down the order now. Look, all the way into P12. Think he's managed to keep himself out of trouble in terms of wing damage, but there's lots more going on ahead. That is Noosa that's been hit into the wall. Look at that left end plate is just disintegrated, so he's not going to be able to do anything about that at all. Toto is trying to work his way towards Veerkamp, but at the same time defending against a very quick Ravenduck. Look at it, the way he's going to be attacking now. Racing Ray gets 3-second time penalty. Going into the inside now is Ravenduck on Toto. Toto's gone wide and Ravenduck's rotated. Big mistake there from him. Just gets a little bit too happy on the accelerator on the curb. These curves will kill you if they get the opportunity, and that opportunity was definitely seized by the curve. So Ravenduck will fall down the order a little bit, get down to P11. Can't let it get to his head because he's still got a long way to go in this Grand Prix. 8 laps, in fact. I think this might even be a run over as Racing Rig goes for the inside on Luca. A little bit of contact between the two of them. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Who is that? Potentially, is it Jeb? It is sadly Jeb. Jeb's had a little bit of an issue there. I'm not sure if he's got any damage at all. I don't think he has. I think he's just lost the rear a touch. Veerkamp. Oh, Jeb has gone. So that'll be, oh, lots of scrapping going on down here. Look at this. 4-way battle, 5-way battle here for effectively P5. Luca's going to be, sorry, Racing Rick. Oh, there goes Luca around. Oh, into the wall. Big contact with the wall there. Massive wing damage on the left-hand side. Here comes Ravenduck down and through. I'm not sure if there was any contact, to be honest. I didn't see any. Racing Rick is trying to hold back VNX where he can. VNX is on the back of him, not really having any sort of opportunity to go in just yet. This is probably the hardest area of the track to do an overtake if you're going to try it. And that's why you're not really seeing anything happen. Nobody's trying to seize any opportunities. Matt Kai is just trying to recover the issue he had off the beginning of the race. And immediately, you know, you can see how hard this track is. 156.6 is the fastest lap right now. Obviously, that's the out lap, so you are going to have a slow lap anyways. We'll see what we get to when we get to the next one. Where is Max? Max is a little bit too far behind to be able to size anything on Bottas gang. Apparently, Veerkamp is 1 minute 57 behind Max, but you can visibly see he's not. So don't ignore that for now. Luca in the pits, obviously, with that massive wing damage that he had earlier. That will affect him. Noose is following him in as well. Luca is obviously now in a P12. Jeb's car is still going. BNX there is actually being taken by Kai. Kai's got the slipstream and he's really gone for it. No DRS yet. We'll get that on the next lap. But this is an opportunity for VNX to come back at him. He's looking for the inside. It's going to be about the braking zones. And it's a little touch. But VNX is the one who loses out. Kai maintained his line throughout. Prefix is looking for the inside line of VNX. It's going to be tense. This is going to be tight. And that is going to be Prefix up into P7 now. Beautiful overtake there. A little bit of contact, but it was wheel to wheel. Nothing more than that. Still waiting to see the times get sorted out. Max getting the time penalty there for multiple warnings. 2 seconds. It's not the end of the world. Will still affect him though. That's almost a guarantee. VNX is still on the back of Prefix, especially after what you saw earlier. A little bit of contact with the wall. I don't think there was any wing damage. No, it's just keeping it together. Prefix seems to be a little bit out of shape. Not quite how it was hoping to go down for him. I'm looking forward to getting onto the third lap where we can get the times be accurate, because you can see Max actually more than a second now behind Bottas gang. Yellow flag sector 2, sector 3. Is that Prefix? It is. Prefix has had an issue. No damage. Must have just lost the rear. The thing is, in gears 1, 2, and even towards a little bit of 3, there is a major... Oh, big mistake there. Turkey, I think, just sent it down the inside. Did not work out how he wanted that to at all. Prefix lucky to not get any damage whatsoever. Bottas gang obviously crosses the line, and now you're seeing the times start to correct themselves. You see the gap now for Racing Rick is now actually 6/10. VNX is a little bit way off of Cabcini. Raven Duck is only 1.7 seconds behind VNX, so can bring this in. Turkey coming up to the line. Prefix is going to be right there on the back of him. And now, obviously, with being lap 3, we do have DRS being enabled. I wonder if Noosa and Luca are anywhere near each other. Nope, they are not. Luca is quite the way down. Noosa is quite the way back, so a little bit of issues going on there. Fresh tyres though, so still going to be able to maintain the pace throughout the rest of this race. And Racing Rick is just working his way towards Toto. Obviously having the DRS wide open does make a difference. And Toto now is safe to an extent. Could get a send it move from Racing Rick, who had a little look then. Definitely could have had an opportunity to go for it if he wanted to, but decided probably better to not. I think it was ultimately the right decision. I think there's no ifs, buts, maybes. Still focusing hard on this, as there is still a battle going on between Prefix and Turkey. Turkey has lost out now to Prefix. Prefix returning, getting the position back from earlier. Although Turkey, coming in for this, might go for a send it. Is going to hold the line quite nicely. Runs a little bit deep. Luckily, Prefix did the same as well. Racing Rick and Toto are battling as well. But we've got to keep an eye on this one for just a second, because it could change as Prefix runs a bit deep again. Goes over towards the outside wall. Didn't touch it though. It was kept still nice and clean. Racing Rick though, working Toto down to the bone. Is he going to be able to get... Oh, big contact there. No damage though, but that was a shunt and a half into the back of Toto. Toto maintains P4 for now, but he will be in full-on defense mode as Racing Rick is all over him right now. Get onto the DRS straight, and that position will very easily be changed, but Toto still has an opportunity to come back at it if that should happen. They don't have ERS in these cars, or at least not ERS you can control, whereas Toto is now just going to have to solely focus on race pace alone. And not all these mechanical skills you're going to need to have. Wing wide open then for Racing Rick, working his way down. 3/10, almost completely gone already. 0.32, sorry. Here's Rick still chasing Toto down. Look how close he is on the exit there. It's already 2/10. He's ready for this attack. He knows all he has to do is just maintain it. And there's Toto running a little bit deep there. That's not how you want to be taking it. This is going to be giving Racing Rick the opportunity now. Slipstream, DRS, all being fully utilized. Going round the outside. Toto's going to squeeze in, but it's cleanly done. Racing Rick threading the needle, but he's actually lost it. Toto's got that through in the big contact, sorry, big tails tank slapper there for Racing Rick. Just couldn't keep the car pointing in the right direction. And Toto lives to fight another day. Did not suffer any damage or any risk of penalty because it was clean. You know, it really squeezed him right to the very last centimetre and still left him just enough room for him to be able to try and get in there. And you must have been absolutely terrified, Racing Rick, to be in that situation. Prefix just gets a bit too happy on the accelerator. That is the right wing in bits now. No elements and no end plate on that right wing. We'll need to bring the car around and replace that wing. Should fall back out into P11 territory. Still an opportunity to get some points, albeit one, but still. A point is a point, especially when it comes towards the end of this weekend session, because remember, even fastest laps make a difference. You can get points for fastest lap, you can get points for even finishing in last, and again, another nudge from Rick. He gets caught out by how slow Toto is through that area. I'm not sure if Toto's just slow or Racing Rick is just getting a little bit too eager. But this battle now has been opened up to 3 cars because Kai has brought himself into this. So the battle for P4 is far from over. 5 laps remaining, 6 if you include the remainder of this one that they're on right now. And, well, now we're down to 5, and that's going to be all it's going to be. You haven't got the time to mess around. You haven't got the time to think about, oh, well, in a couple of laps I can attack him here. It's, no, I got to get on with it now. I got to move as quick as I can. I've got to pressure the driver in front if I want to be able to cement some solid points positions. Ultimately, I don't see why you wouldn't want to, because ultimately that's exactly what you need, right? You know, you want to just give it the full beans down the track. You want to just do more than what you've currently got, and Bottas gang has somehow lost out to Max. Does he have damage? He does. Look at that left end plate. Left wing as well is just in bits. So big mistake there for Bottas gang. Max is your race leader one more time after the start went so terribly for Max. He just couldn't get it together. Racing Rick and Toto going wheel to wheel into the right-hander. It's going to be a tight one. This is a really difficult area to go sideways, but they are side by side, and Toto's managed to keep himself still in this. Kai's coming in as well. There's definite contact, but Toto is leading the battle for 3, and Kai is trying to get involved as well. They are literally going 3 wide into what was the Singapore Sling. Kai gets a little bit of contact. Oh, big shot into the wall. Another one off there. That was inevitable. That was always going to happen. Racing Rick is also feeling the brunt of it. Toto has managed to get away with it. And VNX is there as well. So Raven Duck is going to gain that position on Kai. Bottas going to lose out to Fearcamp, who's just managed to claim P2. But Toto and VNX, they're the ones who really managed to just keep it all together. And Toto's going to try and hold on to P4, at least for now. But if Bottas gang's struggling as much as he is, which it really seems he is, then Toto might have an opportunity to get himself onto the podium today. Another mistake there from Racing Rick. Oh, that was not how we do this. I don't know if Kai locked up or what, but there was a definite put of Kai into the side of Racing Rick, and that was him into the wall. That is, very interesting. Prefix gone for the super softs though. We'll be taking him to the end of this race. Turkey going in for Kai. Not sure how Kai's going to be able to handle this without that wing. He's going to have to check himself into the pits. That's ultimately all he can do. Yep, he's in. So he's going to lose out a lot of places. I mean, it was a very reckless attempt. Even if he was trying to get past Racing Rick, that was a very reckless attempt to even do that. Going straight into the side of Rick and just put him straight off into the wall. And we don't have any of that, and Kai will need some strong words after that one. I don't think he did it intentionally. It looked like he just locked up, but obviously I didn't catch the lead up to it. Just the contact, and you can see VNX trying to get around Toto the long way around. Didn't work out there, and he's still in with this, but this area of the track is very difficult to do any overtakes. It's just so tight, and it's so demanding on the car in terms of aerodynamics that it's not going to be that easy to do. VNX looking for Toto again. Charging up now, going for an overtake. Probably going to be at the end of the next straight, which is going to be over the bridge and straight down into that right-hander. Toto is going to have to keep his eye firmly locked in his mirrors as well as in front of him, because he's going to have to focus on this very quick ART car. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That's Kai. Kai's retired. Has he binned it? He has. Look at that. Big front left wheel is just completely gone. Prefix gets a penalty for colliding with Kai. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but we'll go back to VNX and Toto. VNX could not get the inside line on Toto at all, so we'll not be able to get that past just yet. But we still have 3 laps. 2 and a bit, because we got the rest of this one, and then 2 more. Sorry, 3 and a bit, actually. But yeah, it's an interesting situation to be in for Toto, because he's done really well and he's worked really hard and he's closed that gap on Bottas gang quite considerably. You can see he's actually right there. So Bottas gang's going to lose out. Toto might even get on the podium, but when you've got a very quick VNX here, you know, Toto can't afford to wait at all, and you can see VNX is looking for it. Good attempt. Bottas gang gets a little bit sideways, and that's caused him to lose 2 places. Kept himself out of the wall. Those already got wing damage anyway, so that's going to still hinder him considerably. Toto in P3 as it stands. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Is that Bottas gang? It is. He's got more issues. rather than just his wing, and he's retired from the session, says it's done and dusted, there's no way. But VNX says this is my time to shine, I'm taking that podium spot, thank you very much. But Toto staying with him, they're braking hard into the left-hander, and it's a nice tight line, but oh, VNX gets sent out wide. VNX is still there with him, still fighting him, going to be looking for the inside again, they're going wide again, but no, Toto loses out this time round. And he didn't actually overtake him off track, so I think that's a fair game on that one. But no damage on either car. Toto cannot lose the wind in his sails, because if he does, that will be the end of his Grand Prix. Racing Rick looking for Luca in the lead up towards turn 1. This is going to be a battle for the braking zones as well. Who's got the better brakes? And Luca is the one who gets caught out a little bit. Nothing too severe, just Racing Rick just came a little bit too deep into it. Puts him out onto the outside line, and ultimately it's a bit too risky for him. Loses out. Raymundo gets a 2-second time penalty, which won't make any difference as it stands, as Turkey is 4 seconds behind and dropping. Yellow flag again in Sector 1. Is that Prefix? Noosa? It's not Noosa or Prefix. Is it Racing Rick? It's not. Racing Rick is being chased down by Luca. Toto is actually still working on VNX, who just went completely sideways. I don't know if that was contact or if it was a mistake on his part, but there is still a very vicious battle going on for this P3 spot. 12.9 seconds is the gap from VNX to his teammate Veerkamp in P2, and ultimately it's going to be down to how they handle the rest of this. Throughout the remainder of the Grand Prix, Toto will have to give it the full beans. As we are on lap 8 of 9, we've got 2 laps to go then. 7/10 is the gap. He's actually lost a fair amount of time there. I don't think he's got wing damage, so no, he's completely fine in that area. He just either isn't feeling the car or has made a few too many mistakes. But I mean, in F2s, anything can happen. We've seen a few cars already losing out, and sadly, the only cars that have actually been done out of this race are the MP Motorsport cars. Toto's really losing time now. A second almost was the gap there. He's now dropped to 8/10 due to DRS being available. Again, it's going to be down to now how Toto can manage his car throughout the remainder of this Grand Prix. 7/10 is what he's brought it down to. He's working his way as far forward as possible. And so for Noosa, who's just got down the inside there of Prefix, that is a job done. Left end plate, though, is missing on Noosa, so any right-hand turns are going to be a problem. Prefix is really struggling with that accelerator. He's trying to get it all gunned down, but he just isn't doing it. Racing Rick getting the fastest lap. Issues there for Raymundo. He's rotated. He's got wing damage on that right side, so he's doing so well getting P5, and then just one slight mistake cost him. He's falling down now to P6. And Toto there in P4. Not yet able to do anything, just for the meantime. Has to figure out a way to get around this. I'm not sure if he's got a solution to this problem right now. I don't know if he's just hiding something in the back, waiting for it. Raymundo again having more issues. This time his left wing is complete. He's got no wing whatsoever. He's got a nose cone right there. He's looking a little bit like a rocket ship than he is an actual Formula 1 car right now. Toto down to a second now is the gap, and we're going to go have a look at race leader, who started the final lap, cut that corner quite considerably, gets the penalty as a result, and this could be Veerkamp taking the win here then. I think Max has got more than one penalty now. If that's the case, Max will lose race win because of the penalties, which will give Veerkamp the opportunity. Let's have a look at the fastest lap. It's going to Racing Rick as it stands due to the super soft tyres, and that may have also just ruined the chances for Toto to get on the podium. 1.4 second is the gap currently to VNX. That time penalty to VNX, time penalty is going to affect him. Let's see if we can see who's causing these. It's not Raymundo, even if he does have a damaged wing. It's not Jeb either, who's currently P6, but I believe not actually racing. Right, that's Toto. Toto P4, VNX P3. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about this now. I mean, the gap is still hovering at 1.1. I don't think Toto... Oh, you can see Toto is committed. He's not backing out of this, but it's just a bit too much for him to try and do. He's got to try and work out where he can catch VNX, but he's not got a lot of laps to work with. In fact, he hasn't got any, because this is the final. You can see there is Max in the final sector, pushing to take the race win, and I think he might have just done enough to keep Veerkamp out of this. Look, 4.1. If there were lots of 2-second time penalties, then Veerkamp will be just outside of it. But he's 0.005 of a second away from being able to get it. And that mistake there from Max might have just cost him. 3.9. He's actually slowing down for him and stopped. Veerkamp is through. Max is having issues. Not sure what, but he's having issues. Here he comes then to the line. Veerkamp will cross the line first and take the F2 Grand Prix here in Singapore. Max will take second. VNX will take third. At least until penalties are applied. I don't know if VNX is actually ahead of any. I've not seen his penalty situation, but he comes across the line third and Toto finishes fourth. Turkey will come up to P5. Here he is. Turkey coming up to the line. And that's P5 in the bag for him. And Jeb will be the next up to the line, but it's not actually Jeb racing. This is AI Jeb, so position and points will be null and void. Not that we can remove it, but Ravenduk, who had a pretty solid run today overall. Yes, he's down a place, but ultimately, you know, the aggression we saw from him and the level of performance he was chucking in before, he's done incredibly well. And still gets himself in a nice points position. We'll start the race in P2 unless Racing Rick has some way of jumping Ravenduk, and he doesn't. So Racing Rick and Ravenduk in the two ARTs will be starting, not ARTs, sorry, BWTs, that's it, BWT Arden. Never mind, Luca's just having a bit of fun. And across the line, Noosa working his way up to the line as well. And across the line. Final point position goes to Noosa then. Prefix is just too far back to gain anything, but also just having a nice little relaxing drive with no front wing. Had a bit of an issue, but he will have to go again. Has an opportunity to redeem himself in the next race. This was the feature race. Remember, the next one is the sprint race. That's the opportunity for you to really properly chuck it in and get as many points as possible in the final ditch attempt. But Max is looking pretty good. He's got the fastest lap. The qualifying pace, 4 points, and he's got the second place here today in the Singapore Grand Prix. Could have had more if he'd just been a little bit cleaner, a little bit tidier on his lap times and laps overall, but Veerkamp takes the win. Max had 6 seconds of penalties. Veerkamp claims 2 places, Max loses 1. VNX, who started P12 and actually climbs to P3, so really solid work from him. And then Toto there in P4. Turkey in P5 with Jeb there in P6. It wasn't actually Jeb driving though, it was in fact the AI. Ravenduk so technically is 6th then. Racing Rick is obviously technically 7th. Luca 8th. Noosa 9th. And then Prefix would be 11th. And then the two DNFers were Bottas Gang and Kai Bacchini. We saw Kai have a mega crash when he was trying to go 3 wide into what was the Singapore Sling. It's always going to happen. You can try and keep your nose in there as much as possible. It's just not wide enough, is it, to properly take 3 cars through that area. So it was inevitable it was going to happen, but it's good to see the fire in the drivers. But if we look at the weekend positions, it's actually Veerkamp who's sat at the top. 25 points because obviously getting the race win. Max with the 4 points added to his 18 he got for P2. Puts him 22 points with VNX there obviously in P3. So, fastest lap point available. I think it's 2 points, I believe, for fastest lap in F2 cars. And you also have the opportunity to get a race win. But the race win is not anywhere near as many points as it is in the feature race. So you can still pull it back. You can still bring yourself into it, but it's going to be a lot harder and you will have a much higher pressure, if you like, to be able to get further up the placements. There we go. Words will come to me, I promise you. But we are now getting prepared for the final session of the F2 cars. After this, we will be going to the F1 cars, and you will get a little video just detailing the hype and the previous race, what happened. And if you can remember back to Italy last week, it was an intense race from the word go, with rain off the start. It was just mental. Now we come into this one in Singapore. If we get any rain, you could see a lot of DNFs potentially, just because it's such a demanding track overall. But here we go again. Racing Rick is leading us away with his teammate right behind him in 2nd place. Turkey there in 3rd with Toto in 5th. VNX in 6th with Max there in 7th. Obviously, Veerkamp gets the win from the last race, so he starts in P8. And interestingly, Luca 9th, Noosa 10th, Kai 13th. And they are the 3 drivers that have chosen to do the super soft tyre. Can work on this track. It will disintegrate those tyres into the dirt. So that's a very difficult situation to be in. It's a lot to ask of these drivers, I think, to maintain the tyre wear as you're trying to chuck in quick laps as well. And this track in general will just shed any tyre, let alone the super soft. So for them to be able to maintain it would be quite substantial. I would like to see Ravenduk get himself a nice start, get in front of Racing Rick off the bat, and then just try and maintain it throughout the rest of the race. But, you know, he has to maintain consistency, and that's the thing that I find. Ravenduk is good, right? He's more than capable of being a really, really good driver. Just needs to just focus on being as consistent as possible and knowing the braking zones in every single track, knowing how hard you need to brake, knowing where you need to accelerate. I mean, the one thing I never really see him have problems with is the acceleration in these cars. Obviously, these F2 cars, they have a lot of low-end acceleration, so the rear steps out very easily in the first few gears. Once you get past the first, I know, 7,000 or 8,000 RPM, you can easily then just floor it from every gear onwards. Is going to need to properly... I mean, if you listen to the gearbox as it changes gear, you can hear like the click, click, click. There you go, you can hear it, like click, click. That is such a beautiful mechanical sound. You got to really give props to Codemasters for putting that in. That is actually probably the most glorious sound. But now they come towards the end of the formation lap. There are the stewards who do a very solid job for us here in Singapore. Well done to you, sirs. There's also a nice wall there in the background too. I quite like that wall. It's got a very nice little stone effect. Nice little... There's no sharp corners. This is trial proof. And then we go back to Ravenduk, who's currently on the grid. Back to the wall again. And then back to the grid. That is a beautiful shot. I mean, is the crowd doing a Mexican wave? No, it's just a portion of the crowd are animated, and the rest of the crowd have had enough. They want to go home. They want a refund. And not enjoy themselves. But here we go. We are about to get underway with the final session of the F2 cars. Lights are on, and when they go, it's go time here in Singapore. Very delayed start. Ravenduk is getting a decent start, but not as good as his teammate, who's just absolutely bolted off the start. Here comes Toto looking for a move up in a P3. A little bit of a touch there. That's Turkey getting knocked down a bit. Major collisions left, right, and centre. Turkey has lost out quite considerably. Fearcam has lost out even more. Noosa's involved in that situation as well. Wing damage on the right side of Noosa. Fearcam has damage also on the right side. Turkey's there. Prefix is okay. Botasgang's okay. VNX is actually scrapping with Ravenduk, who's also fighting with Max. So they're going to be going too wide at least in towards turn 6. Need to make sure it's nice and tidy. That's turn 6 done. A little bit of a touch there from Ravenduk into the back of Max. Max still holds his car pointing in the right direction and still maintains the pace and process. VNX just trying to keep himself involved in this battle because he wants to get P4 if he possibly can. Turkey and Prefix going side by side. Wing damage on left side for Turkey's car. He's in trouble. Ravenduk has lost the position to Max, so he's down now in a P4. Toto's had an absolute blinder of a start, getting himself up 3 places to get into P2, and Max in a better situation has managed to gain 4. Kai, with the most places gained, is up 6 places, so really good stuff from him to be able to do that. Big spin there, major contact. Ravenduk getting rotated. Who's that with him? VNX, it is. Wing damage. Oh, he's driven into him. Oh, Ravenduk, no, that's such an unsafe I guess not rejoin of track, but he just caused that so unnecessarily by driving into VNX's line. Not VNX, sorry. VNX drove into Ravenduk, gets penalised for it, rightly so. I didn't see who it was he drove into that caused it, but Botasgang and his teammate Kai are scrapping, are trying to look for P4. Oh, that was a big shunt into the wall. Kai just got a little bit caught out by that, and here comes Prefix, slips on through, no issues there. Turkey's just held back by this now, so that battle between him and Prefix has just been shut down completely. But look at Max looking for Toto. This gap is getting smaller and smaller. We are not yet in the 3rd lap, so the timings are a little bit off as it stands. Racing Rick is still leading this race after starting off quite nicely, but Toto and Max are looking fired up. And if you look at the tyre situation, they're all on the softs as well. And the only person who's nearest to them on the super softs is Luca. And you can see just how far back he is in comparison to those ahead. Them 3 are literally running their own race right now. They have got everything to themselves. Fearcamp has got Noosa to himself. Fearcamp runs a little bit deep there. Almost had a little bit of a kiss with the wall there. Ravenduk is coming for him, trying to break that gap down as much as possible. And now race leader Racing Rick is starting to get closed on by Toto and Max. They are breaking it down to it's about 8/10 I think for Toto onto Racing Rick, and I think it's about 3/10 between Toto and Max. We'll see that when they cross the line, see how close I am to it. Chat, write that down. You might be able to hold me to it. Kai has had issues. He's fallen right down the order. Has obviously come out again with a fresh wing and fresh boots on. And Turkey's gone for the super soft tyre. I think Turkey's done the right thing there by going for those supers. Has ideally really committed in the right way. Racing Rick is still leading. I think Noosa and Fearcam are probably the ones that are going to be the next battles. Excuse me. As I mean, Rwagnation is bringing him closer. And he looks committed. I think this is probably the most focused I've seen him. Oh, Noosa makes a mistake. This is going to bring Rwagnation even more into this than before. Rwagnation, again, just needs to maintain the consistency. Has got right end plate damage, so left turns are going to be a problem for him. Like this one, for example, could run wide. Oh, that was close. Almost touches the wall. Right, here we go. Around the final corner to start lap 3. We're halfway through this sprint race already. Max has set the fastest lap, 1:54.5. So a point's looking good for Max as it stands. If he can finish in P3, if he can avoid getting penalties, he might be able to take the win away from Fearcamp. Fearcamp is currently P7. Max is looking dead set to winning the whole weekend, but we've seen what's happened in past races. Whenever Max is in a really good position, it just seems to go wrong for him. But one thing that isn't going wrong for him is this. DRS wing wide open, slipstream available to him on Toto. Toto is just going to maintain the pace, and he's not really got anything to worry about because Max is just a bit too far back. With the fact that Toto had DRS wing wide open as well, allowed him to defend quite nicely. And Max is looking for any opportunity. There was almost contact between the two. Racing Rick must be really feeling the heat right now, not just because we're here in Singapore, but also because of the pressure these drivers are really chucking down on the back of him. But you wouldn't believe it though, looking at him, he's just so calm, so composed. It doesn't seem like he's making any mistakes. There's no like tank slappers, there's no close moments with the walls, there's no hesitation, there's nothing wrong with his drive at all. He's just staying so committed. The only thing is he's just not as quick as those behind, mainly because they have slipstream and DRS. Keep an eye out for Max though, because he's looking for Toto. I think Toto's probably going to get attacked faster than Racing Rick is, but that could easily change, especially if Toto just suddenly turns the wick up. Max getting very squidgy on the rear end. Again, same thing. Rear end steps out. Kai is closing in on Turkey. Look at this. Nice little battle going on for P11. Not a points position, but still a position nonetheless. And it'll be helping bring Kai's mentality back on top again. As Turkey runs a bit deep, Kai is still there with him. No change for now. Rick actually made a mistake there. I saw that. He was just over towards the outside. Almost hit the wall. I don't know if he actually had touched it or not, but look at this. Toto sets the fastest lap now, so now Max will not be getting those extra points from the fastest lap. Toto is currently looking to do that, and he's currently got the position as well, a P2. So Toto looking good. Yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like Turkey's had an issue. I don't know if it was contact between Kai or Turkey, but it shows Turkey's lost the position nonetheless. Racing Rick still doing well to defend here, but now with the DRS wing wide open, Toto's looking for him. You can see here the commitment is there. Max is going to be trying to commit to this as well. Racing Rick's gone defensive in towards turn 6. A little bit of a mistake there from both of them. Here comes Max around the outside of Toto. Toto's going to have to defend so well through this really tight corner, but Max has gone around the outside. He's actually collided into the back of Racing Rick. Toto's lost out massively because he just gets a little bit too wide on the exit and loses the rear. Max now up in a P2. Already looking for Racing Rick. Is he going to attempt this? No, he looked for it. A little bit of a cheeky send was on the cards for a minute, but he decided, nope, I've seen this book before. I've read it a few times, and it didn't end well for me last time. And if you take last race for it, I mean, going 3 wide was a no-no, but going 2 wide is quite often a no-no too. Here's Max again, still sizing Racing Rick up, still looking for the opportunity. Same for Noosa, who's looking for Rwagnation. So both BWTs are feeling it. Here comes Max down the inside. Racing Rick's got the cutback. He's going to be able to defend this quite nicely as long as he can stay alongside of him. But Max is right there. He's not backing out anytime soon. Racing Rick goes deep into the corner. Max just goes into the side of him. Toto's now going round the outside of Max. This is getting really tense with 2 laps left to go. Max has got the inside for this one, and Toto has to back out, but Max gets a little bit wobbly, and this is allowing Toto to just keep the gap nice and tight, ready for the next DRS straight. Not sure how Max is going to be able to maintain this because of how much he's asking from these tyres. Oh, that was a touch there with the wall for Toto, but no wing damage for him. Kept everything in check, so it must have been a wheel that he touched, and that was it, but that still lost a fair bit of time. DRS ring wide open is allowing him to come closer. Racing Rick trying a little bit of a weave to shake Slipstream, but it's not worked out for him. It's actually worked out quite nicely for Tortor, who's right here again attacking the Uni Virtuosi. Oh, I can't even get my words out today. Apologies, chat. But Max, ready for it. I don't know what he's going to do here. He's got a bit too far gap to do. Tortor's even further back. Whereas if you look at Bottas Gang, he's looking great right now, but Noosa has had issues. That's definite wing damage, and VNX gets a penalty for colliding with him. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but we need to quickly go back up to the front runners again, because this battle for the podium is getting super spicy. Although Bottas Gang and Luca having moments, and Bottas Gang has managed to pass. Kai is coming up to Noosa's wreckage. I can only assume it's a wreckage. No damage on the front two cars, but again, same sort of area of time in the race where Tortor just suddenly turns off. I don't know what's happened to him. It looks like he's just settling for P3. Max is not settling for anything. He's still committed. We've got the rest of this lap and the whole of the next lap to go before we get to the end of the session. And it's not getting any more calm than it was before. It's a big run deep there from Max, but he kept himself outside of the wall. I thought that was going to be a dunzo moment there for Max, but no. We are all great, all good. Max still going for it. Tortor's a little bit back in this. Veerkamp is actually looking for a move on Prefix. Prefix obviously not there, which is what's allowing him to do this. Weaving with the wing damage, but ghosting is off, so that's going to happen. You're going to have to fight the AI car quite fairly, and it's looking troublesome there for Veerkamp, but he's just about done it. And Ravenduck's in here now, says, hello, P6 is on the table. I might be able to take this one. Yeah, I had a rough start, and yes, I've fallen down the order to P8, but I can get some consolation points here, right? I can get a nice solid P6 if I try a little bit harder and get Prefix out of the way pretty quickly. Tortor's got a penalty for multiple warnings, and Ravenduck has just lost the rear just a bit too much there. Well, we go back to the front runners because Max has done the same. He's kept it. Oh, wow, that was a good catch from Max. Manages to maintain it, but this has brought Tortor right into this now. Max has got nothing he can do about this. He's just going to stay alongside him. VNX has been retired from the session. Ravenduck's retired from the session. Here comes Tortor deep into the turn 6. He's lost out massively, and that's allowed Max to come straight back at him, but his tyres are still going to be pretty cooked, so Tortor might be able to actually get the position back on Max, but Max has lost out, and Racing Rick has really, really looked out today. Definitely needs to go and get himself a lottery ticket because he could not have had a more lucky situation if he tried. He's looking dead set on getting the race win. Here comes Tortor trying to do anything here to bring P2 onto the table for him. He knows he's got a penalty. It doesn't stop him from fighting though, and it doesn't stop Max from trying to attack as well. That was a very deep run wide there from Max. Tortor will be in a much better position than Max is following that corner. Max with a little bit of a weave. He's just trying to tell Tortor, I'm enjoying this, let's keep it going. Tortor's so focused, he's committed to everything to pass Max where he can. I think ultimately though, this will only end in a P2 change at best. And we've only got a few corners left to go as we're on the final lap of the F2 race. Racing Rick has done exceptionally well to start off there in race lead. But I think ultimately, when it comes to the weekend win, I think Max has done enough to take it. Veerkamp there in P6 will obviously have a few points lead, but if Max was to somehow DNF here, which he hasn't, Rick wins in the sprint race. Max takes P2, Tortor takes P3, Bottas Gang comes across the line, takes P4. Luca working his way to the line slowly but surely. Is this going to be a P5 for Luca, or is Veerkamp about to snatch it? It is P5 for Luca, P6 for Veerkamp. Prefix will cross the line and take P7. Kai will cross the line and take P8 in a short while's time. I'm very interested to see if we're going to see Max take the weekend win. It's very possible, it has happened, believe it or not. But who knows, we'll have to just wait for the rest of the drivers to finish. We only have 2 to go though. There's Kai. Around the second to last corner, you got Turkey just a little bit behind. 3.4 seconds in fact. There's Kai across the line. Here comes Turkey. Kai might actually lose his position. No, he doesn't. Turkey stays P9. And that is how it ends today in the F2 races. Don't go anywhere though, we do still have the F1 race after this, and it's going to get super exciting if last week was anything to go by. Congratulations Max for getting P2, but overall congratulations to Racing Rick, as here is the rundown for the sprint race. So Racing Rick takes the win with Max there in P2, Toto taking P3, Bottas Gang takes P4 and the fastest laps, so that's additional points for him, 10 in total. Luca for P5, Vierkamp for P6, Prefix for P7, Kai for P8, and then Turkey for P9. Your DNFers were VNX, Ravenduck, and Noosa. And when it comes to the weekend, we have Max Thorne takes the overall weekend win, 34 points to Vierkamp's 29. Obviously, the qualifying points did help him, but he was still beaten by 1 point, even with that in mind. Toto takes P3, Racing Rick takes P4. Phoenix takes P5, Turkey takes P6, Bottas Gang takes P7, Luca taking 8th, Ravenduck taking 9th, Prefix 10th, Noosa 11th, and Kai sadly takes last place with, well, it's tied for last with Noosa with 1 point each. Right, guys and girls, don't go anywhere. We are about to get underway with the hype video for the F1 race, and then shortly after that, we're going to be getting straight into the F1 cars around the exact same track. Stay tuned.